LeBron James' son, Bronny James, apparently they're talking like he's not that great. And he won't be anything like his father. And that's so harsh, but it's the reality that most NBA sons don't live to be their dad. Like, they're very far and few between NBA sons that are better than their dad. If their dad has played the NBA, right? But how bad is Bronny James? Actually, I haven't watched a lot of USC basketball to be able to really put my own analysis into it. So we got a video here by Sports Sphere. Shout out to you, bro. I'll leave a link down the description about the original video. You check that out. Pretty good content. I fuck with it. So, for what I remember, mostly is he had that heart problem.
Bronny James, the son of NBA star LeBron James, is in the hospital after suffering cardiac arrest.
And that really derailed his freshman year. I think he had a meniscus tear too at some point, so battling injuries. He's not as big as his father. He's only 6'4", so I don't ever think he'll be LeBron James 2.0. But in my opinion, he could probably be a good role player on a, winning team and give him some time to develop because, your dad is LeBron James, so there is a aura to A, drafting him, and maybe you get LeBron on your roster, and then B, who knows what he can develop into. Maybe he develops into an all-star level player in 4 or 5 years,
Just a few months ago, Bronny James was seen as a projected late first-round pick by most sources. But recently, with multiple 2024 mock drafts released, he's not even projected to be drafted in the top 60 at all.
Damn.
We all know LeBron's vocal wish to play with Bronny before he retires, but this seems less and less likely by the day.
So do y'all think that LeBron James' son is going to get drafted solely based on LeBron saying he's going to play with him? I've heard some people say that LeBron's pull and how good LeBron is enough to get Bronny James into the NBA because teams are going to want LeBron James to be in their locker room, hopefully playing because he says he doesn't want to play with. So technically, say you get a 40-something-year-old LeBron, he gives you 20, 30 minutes off the bench, right? But the wisdom he can give you, the training, the leadership, the guidance, he could probably revive your franchise, right? So if you're a number 1 overall pick, clearly your franchise is terrible, whether you're Detroit, whether you're the fucking Wizards, you know what I mean? So you get LeBron James in there, you get his young son, Bronny, who's going to show not only his son how to be, a champion, not only is he going to show his son how to be a champion, how to eat, how to dress, how to talk, how to, be professional. He can show other teammates. And that's what you want in your franchise. So I've heard some people say that LeBron James' son is going to get drafted for sure. It's just a matter of who's going to want to take the chance on that. Because that can either make or break your franchise if he's not as good as what we say he is.
In July 2023, Bronny James would suffer an unfortunate incident of cardiac arrest.
Oh yeah, that heart
and
thing.
Thankfully, with on-site medical treatment, his life would be saved. And despite the severity of the incident, this didn't really change his perception to the public as a future first-round pick. That being said, currently being 2 months into his college campaign for USC, Bronny is averaging under 6 points, 3 rebounds, and 2.6 assists per game on under 37% from the field as a freshman.
Oh no.
So this begs the question, is Bronny James even good? And will he even be drafted in the upcoming 2024 NBA draft? And clearly not performing at the level expected, how bad is Bronny actually? Welcome to Sports Sphere, let's get into it.
Shout out Sports
Son of LeBron
Sphere.
James, Bronny James was born on October 6, 2004 in Cleveland, Ohio, to LeBron and Savannah
Ohio.
James, while LBJ was 20 years old, playing for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Born as LeBron James Jr., a big spotlight was naturally put on Bronny from a young age, and LeBron even admitted he had regrets, naming his son after him.
I still regret giving my 14-year-old my name because of that.
But anyways,
Damn.
in his early life,
Yeah, because that's the other sad part about the whole Bronny James thing is people are always going to compare you to your dad. It's just unfortunate that you will never be able to live up to those expectations, right? Because if you even come 1% less than what your dad did in his career, you failed in some people's eyes, right? So the only way LeBron could come into the league is if he really was like LeBron James 2.0, but better. And unfortunately, that's just not reality. Like LeBron James type thing, like what we've seen with LeBron is like once in a lifetime. That's like an anomaly. You don't just breed that. So like, unfortunately for Bronny, he's always almost in a lose-lose situation when it comes to the public eye. So in life, I hope Bronny, you know what I'm saying, does his own thing, plays a great career. I wish nothing but the best for the man. But it's just unfortunate that like that's that's probably why LeBron regrets giving him his name, because now like you've seen with Kenyon Martin, his son, right? Like KJ, he doesn't have such like high ass like expectations. Like KJ is a really good basketball player, and so is Kenyon Martin. But like LeBron James is like some people's number one GOAT, top two, top three of all time, right? Like that's just not the same level of expectations. So like if Kenyon Martin wins a ring, plays good basketball, say 10 plus years, you can say he lived up to that expectation, all right? Like he can say that him winning a few rings, he surpasses that, right? That's like the bar is lower. When your dad is like some people's GOAT, like it's hard for you to beat that. So that's probably why he regrets that, you know what I mean?
Bronny would play multiple sports, primarily basketball and soccer, as LeBron wouldn't allow Bronny to play football or ice hockey due to its increased risk of injury. Soon, basketball became Bronny's bread and butter, and he would be scouted from when he was as early as 10 years old, which made LeBron James quite upset, claiming it should be a violation. With reports from ESPN that Bronny James received offers from Duke and Kentucky before he was even a teenager.
God
Regardless,
damn.
when LeBron was playing for the Heat, Bronny was playing for the Miami City Ballers, then Old Trail School when LeBron moved back to Cleveland. And in 2018, when LeBron moved to the Lakers, Bronny would play out his final year of middle school at Crossroads School, a private school in Santa Monica, California, where he continued to develop in his later teen years. As he progressed through high school, Bronny's basketball journey became increasingly publicized, with fans and media closely following his games and development, especially after LeBron publicly shared his wishes to play with his son before he retired. Despite the pressure and scrutiny that comes with being LeBron James's son, Bronny remained focused on his craft, striving to carve out his own path in the basketball world, despite a huge target on his back. After 1 year with Crossroads, in 2019, Bronny would again transfer schools, this time to Sierra Canyon, one of the most well-known private basketball high schools in the country, with his younger brother Bryce and Dwayne Wade's son Zaire. At Sierra Canyon, led by coach Andre Chevalier, Bronny James began to hoop out on one of the biggest basketball high school stages. The school's known for its elite basketball program, and during Bronny's time, there was no exception. He played alongside and against many top prospects, and generally held his own. During Bronny's freshman year, Sierra Canyon was led by seniors Brandon Boston Jr. and Zaire Williams, who were top recruits, which naturally saw freshman Bronny receive limited minutes, but still contributed off the bench.
And that's the thing, right? Like, even since back then, he was almost destined to never achieve what his father set him out to do, if that makes any sense, right? So what I'm saying is, LeBron James, when he came through the high school circuit, he was like already the number one shit you not player on the magazine cover already, off rip, the chosen one. Bronny in high school, however, he's coming off the bench for Sierra Canyon, and he held his own when he did play. He's good player, right? A very good player. It's just like, you will never be your dad, though. And that's the shitty part about the public eye. With how social media is nowadays, with how public and everything you do, every dribble. Like, even when he's in college, even now when he's in college, right? Every bad game he's had, people are quick to write a story and put it out and make a video. And it's like, he just doesn't have a chance to be his dad. And that sucks.
Regardless, for the season, Bronny averaged 4.1 points in 15 minutes per game, playing in all 34 games that season, as Sierra Canyon finished with a 30-4 record. After his freshman year of high school, Bronny was listed as a 4-star recruit and projected to be a late first-round pick by 24/7 Sports and ESPN. Despite a decent freshman year, Bronny's subsequent sophomore year was one filled with interruption due to both COVID and a meniscus injury for Bronny, which saw him not play a single official game for the Sierra Canyon Trailblazers for the season. Bronny's following junior season saw a bigger individual contribution, where he played a more significant guard role, alongside senior teammates Amari Bailey and Kajani Wright. And by the end of the season, Bronny's good all-round game and active defense saw him average almost 9 points, over 3 rebounds and 3 assists, and 1.8 steals in 29 appearances. And following this season, Bronny's prospect ranking dropped to later in the second round.
That's crazy.
After every season at Sierra Canyon, Bronny faced added pressure and expectations, but he handled it perfectly, showing maturity beyond his years. And despite the noise, he stayed focused on his games and continuing to grow as a player. And during his senior season, Bronny's performances would see his prospect rank go back up after becoming one of the main contributors on his team, where he averaged 14 points, 5.5 rebounds, 2.7 assists, almost 2 steals for the season on good efficiency. Although Sierra Canyon lost in the regional finals to Notre Dame High School, Bronny was invited to play in the McDonald's All-American game and was named in the U.S. team for the Nike Hoop Summit. Bronny's two-way ability, point guard skills, elite athleticism, basketball IQ, and decent shooting saw him always linger around the late first-round mark in mock drafts. After his high school campaign.
And you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like it's just tough because now that LeBron James tagged himself again to LeBron in the NBA, it's tough because now he's going to get picked, a super high pick, right? Say he goes number 1 overall. Let's just say hypothetical reasons. He says, let's go. Let's say Detroit gets it, right? And they pick him number 1 overall. Now you're going to be looked at amongst every other number 1 pick that ever was number 1 pick. And even not just number 1 picks, you're going to be like compared to all the other lottery picks and everyone in your class as well. So now someone in your class goes, let's say, into all-star round and you don't, it's going to look really bad on you. Like, the NBA is going to be really ruthless, and they're going to hold you to that standard of, let's say, not them. I say the NBA media is going to hold you to a standard of other number 1 picks. And say, let's just say, let's be generous and say he's a good role player on a winning team, right? Let's say he's a good role player on a winning team. Hypothetically, Detroit figures it out, right? If he doesn't become, like, the head guy on a championship team, people are always going to slight him. Oh, you never be your dad. Oh, you weren't your dad. Dad this, dad that. You're LeBron this, LeBron that. Any of the same names, so people will never separate the two. It's tough.
Campaign, the general consensus of Bronny James was that he was a 4 to 5 star prospect, projected to go late in the first round, or early in the second. Although Bronny was a good talent, there's no secret that he had some limitations, notably his size as a combo guard at 6'4" being quite small. Also, with him being quite unselfish, causing him to be less aggressive offensively, where he can be quite passive going at the rim, despite his gifted athleticism. And although most sons of exceptional athlete fathers don't live up to expectations, for example, Michael Jordan's son, Marcus Jordan, had an underwhelming college career before giving up on his basketball future to open a sneaker store. Shaq's sons, although are high-tier basketball talent, with Shareef O'Neal currently in the G League Ignite program, and Shakir playing college ball without being ranked as a prospect, the chances of Shaq's sons matching his father's excellence is extremely low.
So that's what the same thing with LeBron, even worse, right? Because LeBron's the second best player to ever walk this earth, in my opinion. And it's like, it's just super tough because you never will be that. You weren't gifted athletically with a 6'8" frame, 290.
And although many hoped that Bronny would be the one to break this trend and become an outstanding talent of his draft class, it looks like he won't even be a one-and-done prospect. And this was largely due to his disappointing start to his college campaign at USC. But before that, in late August, Bronny would suffer a cardiac arrest episode during USC practice. Well, yeah, thankfully, his life would be saved on site at the training grounds. And although he returned to training a couple months later after missing just a few games of the season, when he appeared on the court, he looked far from a 5-star prospect. Although he's been primarily playing a limited bench role, when he is on the court, he's been mediocre, especially on the offensive end. 2 months into the season so far, Bronny is shooting below his usual standards, going for 36% from the field and under 28% from three, not to mention just 62% from the free throw line. So this potentially suggests the issue with Bronny currently being mental, seemingly uncomfortable on the court. But this is understandable, especially considering the life-threatening incident a few months back. That being said, there are still things that Bronny has done.
And what's crazy about that is the NBA media and the basketball media will even cut this man a break. He almost died about a few months ago. And as soon as he got back on the court, people were already on his head talking about he's trashed and washed, might not even be an NBA player.
He has done well. Most notably, his passing and perimeter defense, still averaging almost a steal per game in 20 minutes. To compare a 19-year-old Bronny and a 19-year-old LeBron would be pointless, where at 19, LeBron was already the best player on his NBA team, while Bronny is currently playing a bench role on a college squad. To add to this, LeBron also has every physical advantage, with his confidence accentuating his overall basketball ability, while Bronny still clearly has some mental limitations that need some work. Also, despite recent starting opportunities for Bronny due to injury to teammates, he hasn't really risen to the occasion. USC now sit with a well below 500 record, with around 1 month of the regular season remaining. And after these recent revelations of underwhelming performances from Bronny,
and what's crazy is, like, at this point in his life, his dad was already freaking, like, in the NBA going crazy. Like, let's just put this whole Bronny James is going to be a LeBron 2.0 thing away and just let him be himself. And
mock drafts by 24/7 Sports, ESPN, among others, scouts don't project him to be selected in the first or second rounds of the 2024 NBA draft. That being said, there's one thing that hasn't really been taken into account by the mock drafts. As Bronny is still the son of LeBron James, he plays by different rules, but whether you'd like to admit it or not, his freshman year of college hasn't earned him a draft selection in the upcoming draft, as of yet. But the incentive to draft Bronny largely lies in a potential move from LeBron to where Bronny lands, is Bronny James actually. To judge Bronny's genuine basketball ability, we must treat him like any other prospect. And with under 6 points per game on 36% from the field, unless Bronny finishes off the season in a groundbreaking fashion, there's no doubt that Bronny would need another college campaign to prove his worth if he was any other prospect. At this point, Bronny isn't even a one-and-done level prospect. But if he were to have a second season with USC, experience at the collegiate level would likely see Bronny have a much improved sophomore season. As for the NBA level, although it's hard to see Bronny as a consistent starter in the near future, his unselfishness, good decision-making, and perimeter defense could see him as a role player coming off the bench. And
that's what I'm saying, man. What if we just, if you take LeBron's name off of Bronny, and maybe if you take LeBron's name off of Bronny, he won't even be getting any type of attention. But, like, what if he comes into the NBA, he's a good role player, you know what I'm saying, gets the bag, you know what I'm saying, for a good team, comes in, plays defense, time to develop, give him 5-6 years to develop in the NBA, maybe he becomes a really good fucking player, bro. I just don't think that we should rush to put labels on him because he's clearly, like, he's only a freshman in college. And because we've seen other freshmen in college go to the NBA, one and done and be historically great, it's like, not everyone has that path. So what if he just, came off of cardiac arrest, mental issues, a lot of pressure, everything you do is cameras in your face.
And if he can make some extreme adjustments once he gets drafted, he could have a much higher peak than we may expect. Despite recent mediocrity, Bronny is not a bad basketball prospect, where there's no doubt an unfortunate health episode hindered his freshman year in college, leading to a slow start. Regardless, chances are Bronny will be picked up as a fairly high pick in the 2024 draft.
And speaking of players who need time to develop, I made a video about Jordan Poole and his development. And his story is actually type crazy. I'll leave a video for you about that on screen right now.